Well, one of the first things that a would-be dictator or a fascist regime does to gain control is attack the media in an effort to control the information available to citizens. So, is this a problem here in Canada? So south of our border, Donald Trump has moved to close down the Voice of America and Radio Free Asia. Both these organizations have long reported on authoritarian regimes. He accuses them of being anti-Trump and radical. The kind of language one hears from dictators, right? Chinese state media supports Trump's cutting of public funding for these news outlets. And there's a reason for that. Now in Canada, we have something similar taking place. The leader of the federal Conservatives, Pierre Poilievre, has stated numerous times that he will defund the CBC if elected, calling the CBC a government-funded media and, as such, is providing liberal propaganda rather than news. Now, interesting how these two politicians, Trump and Poilievre, sound so similar to each other, isn't it? So what is the CBC? Well, let's have a look. There's a backgrounder document that states, quote, as a Crown Corporation, CBC Radio-Canada is responsible for its day-to-day activities, including how it spends its money. Now, given its independence, the government cannot tell Canada's national public broadcaster what content to make or broadcast, nor can it influence the corporation's daily operations, close quote. Look, I put a link in the description below to a web page that explains this whole relationship. Now, the CBC began in 1932 when the government of R.B. Bennett, a conservative, established the CBC's predecessor, the Canadian Radio Broadcasting Commission. Now, it seems to be only recently that the Conservatives have turned on our national broadcaster. See, I don't remember it being an issue for them while they were in power. The current dislike of CBC by Conservatives seems to be fueled by their overall dislike of public institutions. Now, they also give the appearance that they don't like news outlets that report on them without their prior approval. They also tend to project their own way of doing things onto others, thus imagining that the governing party is somehow managing to control CBC's content, even though it has no authority to do so. Now imagine being the CBC and trying to report on the very group that wants them gone. Now that's a tough task, and I gotta say, they really execute it admirably. Poilievre claims that the majority of Canadians agree with him. I respectfully disagree. Perhaps that's true among his base, but not with the majority across the country. Now, a survey done by the Toronto Star in late 2024 found that, quote, a significant majority of people, 78% of Canadians, want the CBC to continue. Now that includes 67% of Canadians who identify as conservative, close quote. So this is contrary to the line touted by the leader of the federal Conservatives. Poilievre has numerous times stated that if elected, his intention is to defund the CBC. Since starting to do that, he's amended it now to say he'll defund the English language CBC and leave Radio-Canada intact. Now, interestingly, it was Quebec that brought about that change. He apparently doesn't understand the logistical interconnection of the French and English sides of the organization. Now, Mark Carney, on the other hand, is saying he'll add $150 million to what he calls an underfunded CBC. Now, this is intended to move CBC towards equality with other publicly funded broadcasters such as those found in the UK, France, or Germany. Now, this increased funding comes with a mandate to include strengthening local news with more local bureaus and more local reporters. CBC is also to give us clear, consistent transmission of life-saving information during emergencies, something the streaming giants simply cannot be relied on to provide. So how pervasive is this attack on news media in Canada? Is CBC the only ones being affected? Well, it seems not. See, recently CTV Network, that's CTV Network, announced they would include a weekly segment during their show Your Morning on how disinformation is affecting the federal election campaigns. It was called Fact Check Friday. Now, journalist Rachel Gilmore was selected to host, as her specialty is exposing disinformation and conspiracy. The attacks from the conservative war room began immediately and were very harsh. Now, they suggested that Gilmore is, quote, a disgraced disinformation peddler who would, again, quote, lie directly to their viewers, close quote. The conservative base has attacked Gilmore before with extreme levels of abuse, harassment, and even death threats. The level of harassment that CTV received was so great that they capitulated and shut down the segment. Now, in an age of toxic information, Rachel Gilmore proves to be a truth teller. Can CTV now claim the same? Look, Canadians deserve better. On a secondary note, I hear that Gilmore has joined the National Observer for a bi-weekly fact-checking segment. Look, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching this. Now, if you like this video, do me a favor. Like and share it with others. Then, subscribe to my channel. Hey, and don't forget to click the bell so you get notified when new videos are uploaded. And in the meantime, please, stay safe and enjoy your day. I'm wishing you peace, health, and harmony. Bye for now.